pick up from the last live stream I made this morning. So just noticed that I've got something on my head. It's like I'm tidying up all the time. But this morning I made a live stream, and where I found myself was a case of when I acknowledged the terror within me, I experienced it, I felt it, and that was the ultimate truth based upon my reality that I'm aware of. That is the truth of my life, and it doesn't change until I resolve those external problems. That when I say external, even to to the level of my mind, not my body, because the problems that I refer to are within my body. That's what's keeping me in terror as a primary. And then I've got the world that props that up, because try and be in as much pain on a summer holiday as you are when you're at home and you're slogging away on a normal week, whatever it is you do. If you go away on holiday, it's going to be a lot nicer. But ultimately, your body's the same from one week to another week. Your body hasn't had a miraculous healing. But 1 week ago you were in pain, and now you're on holiday, you're not. And that's the same thing with my body. I'm almost certain that the level of the pain that I'm... Oh, there goes the cup and the radio. Just had a boat pass by. That's the extent of pain in the body. It's propped up by our lives, the external world. Now my problems are very strange, very clear, very complex within their simplicity. So in other words, they're complex, but they've got to such an extent of confusion. So in other words, I don't understand all of my problems, and therefore they just become this picture in the distance, and it becomes definable, and in its definability it's simplified, because when you live in something and you know what the problem is, your mind can be active to it. But if you don't understand what's the cause of this strange thing that's causing you a problem, if you can get it down to that level, it becomes a feeling, and within that confusion there's no need to think all the time about that problem. It's like when you know what the problem is, it's active, and when you don't know what the problem is, it's inactive. So I don't know if that has anything to do with the autonomic and I forget what the other. There's two types of nervous system. There's the autonomic, and there's another one. Basically, Wim Hof, who does all those amazing feats in terms of running marathons in the desert with no water, doing amazing feats with cold, and holding his breath. He's like the most superhuman person out there at the moment in terms of revealing themselves in this world and becoming famous for it, so people are aware. He's like the one at the moment who's doing the most. And he trains the autonomic nervous system. And the autonomic nervous system is almost like in the background. It's almost like the negative emotion to a positive emotion. And when you have a problem and you're aware of it, you're dealing with it in the primary or the main nervous system, whatever the other one is, I forget. And it's positive because you're dealing with it. But when you're unable to deal with this thing because you don't know what's going on, but it's serious enough to trouble you, and you have to just leave it there as a window that you're looking at, I can only imagine that's more negative because you're unable to do something. And the best you can do is rest with it, and that's the autonomic nervous system again, to my understanding. Not to my understanding, to my suspicion. And when I wake up in the mornings, because at the moment when I experience that state of terror, I acknowledge to myself I can't sleep. Imagine being so wired, that wiredness, you realise it's terror. You ain't never going to sleep again. But at the moment my mental health is coming on board and trying to tell me I'm not in terror. And it has control of my senses. It's responsible for the pain in my body. It basically turns it on and off at its call to the feeling it at a physiological level. But because I've done training in Qigong and I'm an alternative therapist and I've lived that and I'm aware of my body, I'm also aware when I'm in pain without experiencing pain in the right way, because like with Qigong, you're basically opening up the channels in your body, and as you're doing that, you're working the pain. It's almost like you're moving the pain out of the way. So you don't know it in the moment of doing Qigong, but on reflection, this is what must be going on, because you don't feel the pain anymore, you feel stronger. And that just makes sense. So as I've been in pain and I've been having to work through it, I'm constantly in that place of one side to another side of pain. So I know it very well. I'm either working at it or not working at it. And I know when my body's in pain, and it's all the time. But really, my mental health has the ability to say which side I'm going to be on. That's for the decider. I'm sure the work I'm doing in terms of constantly working through the pain must go some way to having a say. But my mental at, health at the moment has the ultimate say, because all my problems are external, and all my mental health has to do is say, forget about this problem, Andreas. And I'm like, okay, I can't think about it. It's like I've eternal sunshine of a spotless mind. It's been wiped from my mind. But it doesn't change my physical body, and I'm still aware of it. So when I wake up in the mornings, most mornings my mental health wants to play. Well, before I get waking up in the mornings, when I acknowledged I'm in terror, I acknowledged I can't sleep. All I know, I said to myself, is that I can't sleep. Not because I'm not tired. Tiredness was long ago. It's because it's for my life. It's that level. I don't know if you can believe me or not. I can't even believe it myself, but it's for my life. It's to that extent. And when your mind knows it's for your life and you acknowledge to yourself, I can't sleep, there's no chance. It's your choice at that level. Because your mind, when you don't have a mental health disorder and you have control over your mind and you assert it that way, that's it. And like that statement, it just goes to show that when I'm fully in terror and I'm acknowledging it and I'm feeling it, I don't have a mental health disorder. But unfortunately, my problems, my physiological problems in my body, the pain that's real, it weakens me. And I have to fight my body. I don't have control. That's why I haven't lost my mind, but it's a battle for my mind. um, so I don't know if you can understand that. It's like when you're in terror, there's no chance you've got a mental health disorder. There's no chance the problems on the outside are going to allow it until the problems ease. But when your problem is your physical body, in addition to the outside, I don't quite understand it, because when you know you're in terror, there's no chance of sleeping, you don't have a mental health disorder. You're beyond the pain in your body, and that's where I got to. But on reflection, I was really applying a lot of energy and work with the stresses, with everything in my life to get up each day, with all those problems that really equated to terror already. And I was applying energy, and then I hit the state of terror. And I was like, no, I can't deal with my body, but I guess my body's really had it. My body must be dying. It's serious. As a result of the past, this is my body really done for. I'm done for. Well, I don't know that, because there has been the realization I'm in terror, and that means something. But I was dying. I was close to death. That's what it looks like to me. And what happens is, for whatever reason, it put me to sleep. I don't know it. As I said, I must be so weak. I'm so tired. Something else is keeping me alive. And I ended up sleeping. I've got sleep apnea, and I ended up sleeping. So I don't know sleep apnea. I don't know how to look at it. I've not done the research to see how it correlates to my life. But the ability that it can put me to sleep means it can lock me in terror. Are we ever enslaved? And with the sleep apnea, I've been sleeping. But what happens is, when I sleep, it's not restful. I don't get anything from it. My body needs to pass out. But sleep apnea isn't healthy at all. And each time I sleep, I feel unhealthier. So each morning when I wake up, regardless of where I was the night before, if I was managed to get myself to a place of working through the pain, that unhealthy rest puts my mental health back in control the next morning. My mental health has control each and every morning to a severe level. And when I wake up in the mornings, like this morning, it had taken control so much. But because I've lived this day in, day out now for what, a week or so, that I'm in terror, and how to action plan it. And I was aware of my physical body. I'm aware of what I should and shouldn't be doing because of the state of terror. In other words, I now remember that acknowledgement of truth, that moment when I saw my life and everything I'm experiencing as terror. So like this morning I woke up and it was like, right, we're going back to work, Andreas, today we're going to work through the pain. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm in terror. I don't work through pain in terror. I have to be past my body in terms of the pain, so I can mentally alert myself to deal with all of the problems, external and internal, in terms of terror. And I tried this morning and I realised I couldn't shake it. And where I couldn't shake it, I had to sit down. And that's when I had the realisation that essentially, when I needed to get up, I needed to get up. But the way I was about to get up was the same way that I get up when I work through pain. And my body wasn't in check. From what I know of pain from the other side that I was referencing, there's something severely disabled going on in my body. It's not meant to work like this at all. And I was aware I was paralyzed because when I needed to get up the terror, I couldn't. But I sat there and I just contemplated the situation I'm in for a few minutes. And I remembered I'm in terror. I acknowledged what it feels like to be in terror, the memory of being past pain and having to push through pain, whatever the level. And I got myself up. As much as the feeling and the realization that my body's paralyzed was a case of, if I'm able to roll out of, it was like I was sitting on my futon on the floor, and the paralyzation, when I realized how paralyzed I said, the truth was, I I would prefer, for the sake of my mind, to know my body's okay, roll out of that futon and crawl for the rest of my life than be in a worse place. So in other words, when pain's that bad, you need to be real with the pain. Otherwise you lose your mind. And that's what it's like. If I let go of acknowledging I'm in terror, I've lost my mind. There's no way. Unless things get worse and I need a break, but then I'm not really letting go of the terror. It's just working through it still. That's how I'm having to deal with it. That's how I'm working through I'm action planning terror. But this is on top of terror because, as I said, if it was just terror, you'll be on pain, you can't sleep, it's all that, it's all simple. But my physical problems are causing extra problems. But I'm still action planning it. I've been dealing with my mental health disorder, 14 years? I know how to deal with it. It's not pleasant at all. But I've got it. I've Wing Chung'd it. I've martial artsed it. My auntie is the reincarnation of the emotional or energetic body of Ip Man, and I know my auntie. And I connect with the energy of Ip Man very much. And I've just applied it to my mental health. So my mental health is my mental health. It doesn't make it easier, but I know what to do. And that may be making dealing with the terror that little bit easier, actually. As much as it could be viewed as making it harder, it could be making it easier. I have to acknowledge. But it's not easy at all. It still requires an alertness to life to really to really manage that. So the fight continues, and I've fought today. My mental health keeps trying to tell me different stories about what's going on, trying to make me forget, trying to make me this, that, and the other. But I fought, and I've siliconed round the base of the window. That's what that mark is. Finished off the box where my batteries are going to be housed, and I've swept up a little bit. But I've had to, because, and right now I'm kind of shitting myself. I'll tell you why in a second. But I've had to, because that's how I've action planned my mental health. But what's happening is I haven't really had to decide much. All I've done is know myself to the pressures in my life, how I function as best as I can, know myself there, and keep action planning forward on account of how I've action planned my mental health, and how I've action planned my terror, really, in relationship to everything in my life. But I give so much energy to action planning my mental health. Everything's an action plan. I haven't rested in ages. I've been living my mental and physical mental health and physical pain. Nothing else in my life. I haven't had anything else in my life. But why I shit myself is because I live life. But my life has become my terror, my physical pain, my mental health, all action plan my entire life. I don't do a thing. I'm not here for all intensive purposes. And there's so much pressure on me. And I just keep living life. Life tells me what to do, not by itself anymore, but just me knowing how I've action planned such a serious mental health disorder, and what my life looks like when I don't have a life to live outside of that. And what I've realised is I've become life. I'm so far in this now. The world will need to change drastically for me to change. And the way my energy is, and the way my intent is for what life should be, something serious is going on a energetic level, because I'm putting out energy every day. The pressures I'm dealing with, nobody knows. And why I said shit a little while ago was because I'm realising this is the work of my uncle. My uncle's responsible for all this. And he's put me in this place. I was meant to be here, I'm certain. And in this place, let's just say I can feel the energies moving. We're talking about global scale here, I know that. Again, it's up to you to believe me or not. Let's just say we all better hope that vision I had about 15 years ago doesn't come true, because I think my energy field's about to get turned on, and there's shit all I can do. As a result of my past, and I don't know what that means, but I know it's as a result of my past, not some instant spiritual technology, but a result of a lot of years of pressured, intense life living on an insane level. And I'm really thinking, I'm beginning to think, are we all ready for 2012 sort of deal? You should have.